Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in today's video, we are talking all about some things that are considered dated, but interior designers actually love. Now, before we get started, be sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Now, the first thing we have to talk about that designers love, that a lot of people would consider dated, and I know they do, are actually vintage and antique accent chairs. The reason I say I know you think they're dated is because people get rid of them all of the time. We see it all over social media. Somebody finds something at a thrift store or I don't know, like a Goodwill. All of the time, designers love these sorts of things. Now, of course, they're probably not getting them from thrift stores or flea markets. They're gonna go to, the Paris flea market or, Round Top and all of these things. But vintage accent chairs are amazing, and it just depends on the scale and size and what you're looking to achieve. A real antique accent chair is maybe not something that is super usable on a daily basis. So that's something, if I have it, I'm gonna use it to accent a space, to flank a table against a wall. It's not something we're sitting in. It's something that is serving a purpose. And I love an accent chair to increase the scale of like a console table against a wall. It's a great way to create an elongated shape on something without having to spend the money on something that's larger. And the great thing about an accent chair is that sometimes they're cheaper than buying something brand new, or at the very least the same quality brand new that you can bank on. So I think they're great for that. A mid-century accent chair still has an appropriate enough scale to be used in a seating arrangement, in my opinion, because they're a little bigger, a little oversized, and they have a more open kind of feeling to them. A lot of designers will take a mid-century accent chair and use it to juxtapose whatever style is happening. So if you're doing super contemporary, some things might feel like they're kind of from a box store. So let's add in something unexpected and wild, like that mid-century accent chair that's got a sculptural shape or some lines to it to really set the space off, create that accent, create some personality, but still have the functionality. Something else that designers love, keeping it in the same niche of an interesting accent point and adding character, is vintage lighting. Vintage lighting is great because we just don't make it like we used to. We just don't make it like we used to, and you all know that's true. Vintage lighting is a little trickier though, because some things have to be rewired and customized, but mixing modern and antique lighting together is one of my favorite things in the world. I just think it feels elevated and interesting, unexpected, and lighting also really sets the stage for what you are aiming for stylistically in a space. So I love a vintage chandelier. I'm not going to use a ton of them because they are a little more difficult to source and, rewiring and everything, but a lot of designers love a vintage Murano glass light fixture or chandelier because they are very sculptural and interesting. And if you have a very contemporary space, they actually kind of set everything off and they make everything else look more contemporary because they look very traditional, very kind of classic. And also, do not write off vintage lamps. Those are some gems, especially modern and mid-century modern style lamps are some of the best out there. They are genuinely some of the best because once again, that sculptural quality to them really speaks volumes, especially if you are using it in a space that has some traditional undertones or some features, some details, some accessories that are in that traditional realm. Just having those two different things there fighting each other, it creates a beautiful tension in a space. That whole realm of lighting is really wonderful because it's less direct lighting. We don't see exposed bulbs. It's not like, hey, we have a traditional lampshade here. It's very interesting in the way it cascades light and projects it, might be downward or onto a wall. That indirect lighting feels softer and natural and just nicer, more enjoyable to be around. Vintage lamps are a designer's favorite, and there are plenty of resources you can find for them. Once again, you can find them at some of those interesting places, thrift stores, yard sales, that sort of stuff, but don't write off some of those more curated online sources. Etsy is a great place, Cherish is a great place, First Dibs is a great place. All of them have wonderful lighting. Get inspired by what you see there for your space, and once again, create that juxtaposition. Designers love it. No matter what size project you're working on, be it big or small, getting some feedback or advice from a designer is a good idea. So be sure you check out the link in the description box down below or go to intro.co/GarrettLeChic to book a one-on-one design consultation with me. I work on projects that are large and small and answer my clients' questions to avoid them having those design regrets later. So be sure you head down there and check it out. Now, something else that some people might consider dated, but designers love is a traditional rug. There's a time and a place for everything, and I'll always believe that. And in some spaces, I need a more modern rug. I need a solid colored rug. That's one of the biggest rug trends that's happening right now. It is something worth thinking about if you have a space that already has a lot of pattern. But designers love a traditional rug, and that can mean so many different things. But I'm looking for traditional manufacturing, and I'm looking for traditional colors and patterns. And I might not use all three of those at once, but they are definitely something worth thinking about. Now, what does all of that mean? Traditional manufacturing might be a hand knotted rug that's made by hand. And I like that because it offers customization and quality. I also really like a traditional pattern on a rug, and I may not opt for that in a traditional colorway so that it feels more modern. Something that's tonal, that's more muted, and doesn't have high contrast is really wonderful. Right now, pastels are very in. Right? They're very fun, they're very bright, people like that. We're liking some positive energy in our lives and in our homes right now. So those are really good too, but that's not necessarily the most traditional thing. And you can have a play on that. You may even have a play on that traditional pattern in a more modern way. Traditional rugs are something designers love because it's an easy thing to fall back on. They're always timeless, they're always classic, they're always going to be around, and they have been forever. You can find vintage rugs that are a really good deal and great quality too. So be on the lookout for all of those. Designers love to use a traditional styled rug. And I will also say that you can find rugs that are very affordable, that maybe they're not the single most high quality rugs in the world. Okay, maybe you want something that's more on the budget friendly side. I totally respect that. You can find something that feels a lot higher end or more expensive than it is by looking for something that has a slightly more traditional pattern to it. Maybe it has modern colors in it. Maybe those muted tones are really wonderful for your home, but it may look more expensive if you use something that's a little more traditional instead of something that is a flat, solid colored rug or very geometric in its pattern. Those tend to stand out, and you may not want that in your home. When I am looking for a rug, I want something that has a little bit of variation in color. That to me is always going to work in a space. They're easier to work with because we can mix lots of different shades and tones of the same color together to create something that feels really unexpected and elevated. Be on the lookout for those rugs. There goes Arden popping in to say hello. Hi, you gonna have a nap on my lap? Yeah, that's cute. That's a good boy. Okay. Now, Arden, let's talk about the next thing that people might consider dated, but designers absolutely love, and those are candlesticks. Designers love candlesticks. And I know they're dated, okay? I know people think they're dated because, once again, on social media, everybody's finding them at thrift stores and flea markets, and you can find some of the most interesting things. Candlesticks are really good accessories. And the reason they're really good accessories is because they're smaller, they're lighter, and they're easier to contrast within the space stylistically. Because they are easy to use, they're good accessory pieces, they're good for styling, and they tend to be relatively affordable when you find them. Look for some that either have a different height if you're putting them near each other, or are exactly the same if you're going to create some symmetry using them. That's always a good thing to keep in mind. And you also want to find the correct type of candle for them. I'm gonna link some of my favorites on my Amazon storefront in the description box down below. Check that link out because, you know, sometimes it's hard to find some good ones. And you can also add specific colors into your space. There's so many good reasons designers love these. A lot of it is because they're smaller, they're more affordable and accessible. They're really easy to use style pieces, and they're good entertaining pieces as well. You don't always find things that meet all of that criteria. Designers love candlesticks, and you can find them absolutely everywhere. So be on the lookout for some good ones, and so be on the lookout for some good ones because there is a designer that's gonna come up behind you and grab them if you don't. You see, I am always on the lookout for you, and I am always going to bring you a different perspective than what you see across social media. I'm gonna give you the truth and the real tea that you need to know about every week in these videos, so be sure you hit that subscribe button and join us. Become a part of our LeChic family. We are elevating homes one at a time. Be a part of the movement by hitting that subscribe button and joining us. And be sure you give this video a like. Something that is dated that designers love, I see so many designers use all of the time, is actually animal print. And I know you're like, what? Garrett, are you serious right now? I am absolutely serious. Designers love animal print, and it may not be the way you're expecting it to be, but designers will use animal print all of the time in every way. Now, there are so many different variations of this. I mean, I have green giraffe pillows that are really wonderful for spring actually, but I don't use them all the time because they are very bold. Some designers are gonna love that. They're gonna have things that are bold and poppy and colorful and, you know, like tiger print on chairs. That's a big thing right now. Some designers will use these in neutral variations, right? They're gonna do that tiger print in all beige. Okay, some people just love beige. It's a good neutral. There's also like a fawn print that a lot of designers love to use that is really beautiful as well. You can use leopard, you can use ocelot. A lot of designers love to use a very graphic, high contrast, black and white zebra print. That's also something that's very popular. Designers love an animal print because they layer really nicely and there is always a certain gradient in the colors used within them that makes them easy to blend into a space. And it doesn't always have to be, you know, crazy, wild. You use them all over the place. An animal print and an accent pillow is easy to use, easy to mix in. It's something different. It's not a solid, it's not a geometric, it's not a floral. So there are certain places you can use it and other places you have to be very careful with it, which is why I don't personally use it all that often. I would rather see, you know, here's the thing about me. I don't love a lot of accent pillows, and I think that's the most natural place to use an animal print. So I'm probably only gonna have like 2 to 3 pillows on a sofa, 1 on a chair, if that. So I don't need to layer a lot of that together to make it feel natural. I can do a solid, a geometric, or a stripe, something like that. So, you know, I might do like a toile or a floral moment or something like that. That's okay, and that works naturally. You can also just find some things that are a little textured, a little fuzzy, or that sort of thing. I don't think you need animal print, but a lot of designers love it, and it is a go-to for them. You have to be careful with it, so keep that in mind if you are going to use this animal print in your space, and be sure you're not using too much of it or mixing too many of them together because that might look a little bit wild, if you will. Something that a lot of people will tell you are dated, a lot of design commentators, not designers, design commentators will tell you is dated, but designers absolutely love are picture frames. I love a good picture frame. I love a picture frame. I love a family photo. I love having that personal moment in a space is essential to creating a home. Not a house, a home. There's a difference there. But a lot of people will tell you like, nobody wants to see your family photos. If you don't want to see my family photos, then why are you here? Okay, why are you coming over here? If you don't want to see my family, if you don't like that, if you don't like me, why are you here? You're probably not, because I wouldn't invite you. So having family photos for me, do it. That's for you, not for everybody else. And if everybody else enjoys it, good on them. And if they don't, there's the door, they can go. There is a time and a place for them and a way you can use them strategically, not just covering every surface or hanging them on every wall. I think you have to be methodical in how you use them. I love a picture frame that's on a tabletop or a surface. Cover your mantle with them. That's fine. Put them on an entry table. Love that. I'd also go as far as to say, I love seeing like drawn pictures by children. I think it's whimsical. I think it's fun. You can use that. And I think it's great. Have an interesting way to display them and you're good to go. Family photos are also nice to rotate through for the holidays. When, you know, that one holiday comes around, Easter, Christmas, whatever it is, Thanksgiving, you can rotate those photos through from photos of past holidays. And that's super fun, a great way to decorate for the holidays without having to put a lot of stuff everywhere, and it's nostalgic from a holiday past. Really wonderful, I love that idea. Do not let these social media interior design commentators who are trolling for comments tell you that you don't need to have family photos in your home, because I am telling you designers absolutely do this and they love it. It's one of the easiest ways to make a house feel like a home, to make them personal for our clients. Do it all of the time. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Something else that people will tell you is dated, but designers love, never stopped using, never will stop using, are florals. And I don't mean like a floral arrangement, I mean floral prints on fabric. Designers love a good floral moment, and there's so many reasons for this. I would say the biggest is because it is a reference or a callback. We love a good callback, a callback to nature. Nature in a home, bringing in that natural element is wonderful. And you can reference the outdoors inside through a floral print. And also, what I think is so interesting about a floral print is that florals are seasonal, right? The seasons change, the outdoor environment changes. You can have an effect on a space stylistically by embracing a floral pattern in that season of colors. And that's really interesting to me, and I love doing that too. I don't use a ton of florals because They are very specific, taste specific, style specific, depending on the way you use them. Also because a lot of people think maybe it's timeless, maybe it's not here for a long time, maybe it's, you know what I mean? There's just a lot of thought about it where people tend to gravitate towards solids and neutrals and things like that, but you can use a floral really successfully in your home if you find the right one for you and the right scale of pattern. You have to have a strong solid to contrast that floral with. You pull some of the tones out of whatever that is, whether it's a wallpaper or a fabric, and then you find solids in that color. So if I'm gonna use floral wallpaper, I'll probably go for a solid colored rug and solid colored drapes so that I get a strong balance, a grounding element in the space to contrast that. You have to do that to make it feel natural. Using a floral has to be done strategically. You have to be thinking about it and the tones within that. Another great thing about a floral print is that they tend to have that variation in color and tone again. It just makes it easier to mix different things that are store-bought together and not have to go custom on everything. Because sometimes as a designer, you have a client who has a really big budget and we can do a lot of interesting things, but just because some clients might have that doesn't mean every client does. So how are we getting creative to make the same effect happen but on a smaller or a tighter budget? We can absolutely do that. A floral is just one of those ways. It's just a, you know, a reference point. Designers love a floral moment, but they're not for every space, and you can use them in more modern feeling ways and create an interesting space by using something that's a little more tonal, a little darker in color in terms of like wallpaper or a fabric or an accent that blends into the background a little bit more. That serves as texture, more as a contrast. It's just something that we notice afterward. It's a secondary accent point. It's not something that our eye is going to stop on and be like a contrasting element, a poppy moment in the space. It's something that I'm not going to notice that accent pillow until I sit down on the sofa and I say, oh, wait a second, that's a floral. That's really great for you. I love that. Those are the elements you want to bring into a space. A main accent, you can use a bold contrasting floral for, but you can also make them feel more modern by using something that is a little bit more minimal, is a little bit more refined. Maybe it's something that's larger scale, so we're not looking at the full like floral moment, high contrast detail. We're just looking at a little segment of it and I'm kind of saying like, what is that? That's interesting to me. That's the most important takeaway here. Use things that are unexpected and interesting into your space to develop personality, contrasting styles in a space. That is always going to make your home look more expensive, more luxurious, and it will stop anything in your home from feeling dated. You can take these dated elements, mix them with things that are modern to make your home feel timeless. Speaking of your home being beautiful and timeless and elegant, be sure you check out this video right over here all about my top 2025 design trends that you absolutely need to know about. Be sure you check it out and I will see you over there. And thank you for watching.